I'm on the phone. Okay.
From Rhode Island.
I have a sweatshirt on today.
I have sweatpants on. I hear you. It's amazing how many people come out of the woodwork from Rhode Island to say, "Oh, is it cold? Is it cold? Is it cold?" But yet, when it's 80 degrees, we don't get anybody saying, "Is it nice and warm?"
Yeah, exactly.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
John and I are discussing the trials and tribulations of living in Florida during January. So.
For you guys.
Well, this morning it's cold.
Little cold spell last night.
Little cold snap. So yeah.
I'm sure it's still not as cold as it is here on the Atlantic coast. So
That I can guarantee.
East Coast, yeah, in Canada.
Well, thanks guys for getting on with us this morning. Just a little background too. John Metz, has worked with the process team and the automation team, and since Tim Endicott moved into the CIO organization, one of Tim's responsibilities was around clarity and PPM and getting our tasks set up and working with Teresa Borger on putting our tasks into Clarity. And John has a lot of knowledge about the Clarity tool itself. So I asked John if he would take over that responsibility for Tim Endicott. And of course, John always accepts whatever's put in front of him, and John did. So that's why John Metz is on the call. Because we have some upcoming work with a consulting company, Globant. I'm not sure, Jason, if you've heard much about Globant coming around.
No.
Okay, Globant is another company that Apollo is looking to potentially work with to augment some of the work that we have on some of our teams. I have a huge backlog of work in our automation group because of losses that we've had for staffing that I have not been able to replace. I've been told to hold off until we merge, hold off until org charts come out, hold off until, and I could spend the next half hour on the hold offs. But the fact of the matter is I have a lot of work. So we now have this potential to pilot Globant, this company, to see if we could do some work with them. And I'm going next Friday, a week from today, in front of the L1s and L2s to ask for help with that. One of the questions they're going to ask is, do I have a budget to support the work that they would be doing? Typically, the work that we want to have them do, that is normally done by our FTE staff, is ongoing maintenance and support, which is, another word for the really, really bad word of overhead. But I have no other choice, but this is something I cannot charge to projects directly. This is upgrade of some of the tools. This is also investigating some new tools based on some of the requests that we have coming in. So,
I guess I don't quite understand that, Scott. I mean, it could be charged to the project. It's an outside service company that's going to be performing this work, right? So
it's outside, yes, it's outside services, and I do have an outside services budget, yes.
Well, you may have in software quality in your departmental OpEx, but there is nothing planned, unfortunately, as I sent that, the documentation to you yesterday. There's nothing in the plan for outside service costs, other than $50K, I think.
Jonathan, do you want to speak to that? Because I had budgeted, I think we had budgeted based on last year's outside services.
Again, but that's in the department. So that's, if you have money there, then that would you be able to absorb that, then that's fine. But speaking with the automation stuff that was captured in like a project, nothing was in PPM for 26.
So I've always had a bucket out of CTO initiative that, like I said.
yeah, maybe somebody put it in there, like Tim or whoever was responsible for planning that stuff and charging, and ultimately the charges did reside there. But nobody took the responsibility of putting something in as an estimate for 26, Scott.
Okay.
And I don't know where that fell short. Whether I don't know when the baton passed from Tim to John, but as I stated, like September 9th snapshot was used to support the 26 plan. And I gave you a view of the December 17th poll, and there's still nothing in it.
So why
So
wouldn't
is it too late to put something in?
Well, the budget's, at this point, we're gonna have to get approval from the L1. Like Andy's probably gonna have to say, okay, this is critical for business operations. There is no budget unless, again, there's something in the department that we can use to support this. It's not, right now, there's no funding available.
So why would this have not been, if I had CTO initiatives, been charged to CTO initiatives in 2025, why wouldn't that have been swept up in that rev?
Because Scott, we take what's from PPM to support all the R&D project investment, and again, that's where that stuff resided. We don't go back and look and say, okay, this project was here in 25 or 24, we got to plan something in 2026. It's the responsibility resides with the PMs and the owners of these verticals, whoever's getting the information from product team to put those estimates into PPM.
Okay, well, we did have a discussion around this, around CTO initiatives early on in the year.
With who?
Paul Dillon was on the call. We've talked about CTO initiatives. Jonathan unearthed an email back in March about CTO initiatives from 2025, so it should have been in there for that.
Yeah, for 2025 for sure. There's actuals that were captured in 25, but this is for 26.
So
now
actually,
26.
So I guess my confusion, and I'll take the hit for this one, is that it was my understanding that whatever was in that rev at that time was what we was Rev 10A, I believe we were starting with, was going to be carried over and be part of my budget that's how the budgets work, was that would be carried over. And as a starting
when you
point
say
for
10A,
2026.
that's not the beginning of 25. 10A would have been back in like September, October. Did you have discussions with somebody at that point?
Jonathan, do you remember us talking about Rev 10A?
Do you mean for the prior year? Like for...
10A from 2025 should have become 2026.
It wasn't, so I think where the drop ball happened probably is that because it was a project cost, not one that's visible as the financials, the OPEX that we look at monthly. If Tim probably should have made sure that was a list of the recurring costs that needed to be done.
Tim wasn't with us at that time. Tim wasn't with us.
No, but back in September, October, right?
Yeah, he left us in July, so he would not have been responsible for that at that time.
I mean,
I'm sharing my screen. This is, you can see there was a project, Scott, right? This project here.
Yep.
It was on Mission Group Sustain. So it took on actuals all throughout 2025, $1.375 million. Well, even if you were to continue using this is 24.
I get that message too, and I don't know what that means.
The new upgrade must have caused the sign you out, I guess. And I have to sign back in every time.
It's annoying. So as you're searching through this, I just really want to ask John real quick with Teresa. When you have set up just recently, when you set up stuff with Teresa, some of these projects, did she mention the CTO initiative bucket at that time?
No, we didn't broaden the scope of our conversation to that. My meetings with Teresa were just to get assistance from her on best practices when we're setting things up and when we're making our estimates, like ETC estimates, and just to get best practices from her as I'm setting up these new tasks for 2026. We did not broaden our scope of our conversation beyond that.
Okay.
So there you
And
go.
for me, I mean, part of the problem here for me is like, because I'm new at taking over these responsibilities from Tim, I don't know.
Oh, no,
I
no,
didn't
no,
know.
I get it. I understand that, Jay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. So what are we looking at, Jason?
So so there's PPM, there's that project, right? You can see in 26, I mean, there's like 11 grand, maybe that's coming from something else, but I mean, there's nothing in there. So somebody did not put, whoever's the owner of this now, didn't put any estimate in. So when we loaded in the details from PPM to support our 26 planning, this is the only thing that came through for CTO initiatives. And again, we look at it, and what we do, Scott, is we typically take the original ask from PPM, load it into BPC, our fiscal forecast revision, whatever that is at the time, and then we compare that to, from a labor perspective, compare that to the supply side, the capacity side. And as I say, this was extremely low compared to probably what it should be, so we rebalanced and we added some dollars, but some of that labor can be used to help support the mission for automation, but we only have this 50K in for non-labor expenses.
So where is this is for, you said there's
This is for
nothing in
26.
there?
This is for 26.
But what was so the actuals for 2025, that doesn't matter.
Well, for 2025 it matters, but for 2026, I mean, we don't look and say, okay, we spent 135,000 on this project. We got to make sure that there's a plan for 26. We don't really know whether that's going to be required or not. I mean, it's up to the technology partners.
Wouldn't that set up a red flag? That in 2025 you budgeted 135,000, you don't have anything for 2026. Wouldn't that
it wouldn't
around the conversation earlier?
It would in looking at it in further detail, but when we do these forecast revisions, again, we are under the impression that the communication, everybody has received directive of what the product roadmaps are, what they should be putting forth in terms of estimates and PPM, and we take that ask, that demand, and load it into BBC. We don't scrutinize and review every single product because there are new initiatives, new directives that may not result in fair comparisons to prior year. So, no, we would not at that point in time looked at it and said, okay, well, there's nothing in here for automation. There probably should be. Right. So obviously somebody did not carry forth an estimate for 26.
Right. So this is
from a labor perspective, I'm not really concerned about it. It's the non-labor side, right? Because your labor is your labor. I mean, you only have X amount of people. So whatever didn't get planned, you're going to have to drop them somewhere else to level set against your capacity.
Versus, talk to me about labor versus non-labor. So, these consultants are coming in. I have a budget for outside services.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to do. You have a budget for outside services stuff, but it's in your departmental OpEx. This is totally different from this stuff from PPM. It's totally different from your departmental OpEx. And I was going to run it to see exactly what maybe you have. Again, I'm not as familiar with where Jonathan and I would look, and I'm just going to pull software quality in total.
We'll see 300.
So you do have, overall in software quality is $324,000.
For outside services.
Correct.
That's your HCL, guys.
Yes.
service costs.
Right. So Globant would charge, since they're considered outside services, would charge to outside services. That isn't dedicated
Well,
just
you
to.
can direct it
Yeah.
to this if you want, yeah, and
Okay.
if it can be absorbed within that 324, then yeah, I have no issue with that.
So what about, so talk to me about the labor, non-labor that we have. You said labor you're not overly concerned.
No,
with.
because again, like your labor pool is your labor pool, right? Whatever resource plan that we come up with, the fact of the matter is that they're gonna be probably, if they weren't considered to be non-chargeable, they're gonna be charging something. So it's, since we don't have, if there's an expectation that there's gonna be continual labor charges, right? Going into this project, something else in some other area is gonna have to be decremented to support this labor charges. To balance out against your capacity, Scott, right? I mean, you only have X amount of resources.
Right.
If you were to come and say, well, I have to support this, I don't have enough resources because the demand from other, product initiatives or what have you are drawing upon them, I have to go and hire a bunch of new people to support these charges.
Okay.
I doubt that's gonna be the case.
So we're just gonna have to, I guess, look at expanding then, if this is the case, then we've missed the window of opportunity for CTO initiatives.
Well, I would put something in, like I said, put something, the rev is gonna, or the snapshot's gonna close at the end of the day, so I don't know if you're gonna have an opportunity to get in there, but somebody needs to take the initiative and put something in PPM.
Yeah, we can do that.
Plan
now.
out the demand.
Right, so we should do that. We just
Yeah.
need direction on where to do that and what to put in, and it shouldn't take long to put it in.
I can't give you that direction, John. I mean, I don't know what the demand is. You tell me.
No,
Once again, we rely on
where to put it in, I don't know. I mean, can we do this exercise right now just to get the figures in? Let's just do it.
Go ahead, put it in PPM. I don't plan in PPM. I hope that you're
Scott,
familiar
do you know where the PPM is supposed to go?
I do not.
See, this is what we gotta find out from Tim.
Right.
Neither one of us knows where this should go, so we have to connect with Tim, if he's the one who did it in the past, and find out where do we put this, and then we put it in.
Well, you can either start a new project and plan it out, again, your resources, all that stuff. I don't plan this stuff out, so if you need to speak with Tim, to figure out how this all comes to fruition in PPM, then do that.
We'll
But
talk to Teresa, John.
you can put it in this project if you want, I don't really care, or create a new one.
Put it in the 2024 automation that.
Right, I mean, yeah, because it looks like you used this for 25 anyway, so who cares?
We did, so let's talk to Teresa about this, John, and just get her on the phone for like 5 minutes and just have her added in, and you and I will figure out how many resources we have and about what amount we should put in there for this. And then we can have Teresa either add it to, but I don't think I want to add it to a 2024, or we can't, whatever, we'll talk to her and get that figured out. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, hold on, I'm checking her, because we need to do this by today, I just want to make sure she's available today.
Yeah.
And guys, I mean, it's not as pressing if you don't get it in today. It's not the end of the world, because again, we know that there's an imbalance between PPM and our fiscal plan. So again, from a labor perspective, I'm not overly concerned. Non-labor, if there was an expectation that there was non-labor expenses that were not captured that are going to materialize, that are outside the perimeter of the plan, that's a problem, and we have to have discussions on that.
But what is non-labor?
Non-labor is any other
Capital?
cost, no, not capital, this is OpEx, so any other expenses that are outside your direct personnel costs. So outside services, travel, any other expenses that might hit the P&L, like in this, I'll show you. So it'd be anything like this, Scott, any of these type of expenses. Right, travel, communications, posting the footage, I don't know, prototypes maybe. So again, again,
No,
and this is
it'll all
a,
be
it's a
later.
catch-all testing, so, I mean, it looks like you did in 24, you did have, you know, $222,000
In not labor?
in outside service costs, yes.
Okay, well, I already have an outside service.
But again, then you plan for it in your department OpEx, but you directed it to here. So that's what I'm saying, like, these are two totally different buckets, but, and I'll run 25 here, see what you spend. Just Q4. Well, so see this 395? That's showing up under software quality. This is departmental OpEx. This 222 is an addition to that 395.
22? Where do I see
Yeah.
222 on here?
Over here. This is again, this is rolling up under CTO initiatives, right? Under automation. There's
Okay.
$222,000 that was captured, and you can pull what vendor that might relate to. But it was charged to this project in 2025. So that makes me nervous, right? So you get 222 plus 395 when you only have 324 in your P&L overall.
Part of that is, and this is where a lot of the problem is that I accepted outside services for tools. And
Okay.
I had a whole bunch of BrightNet and Xers folks that were working on tools, not automation. And I was told, just keep them in there. We'll worry about it next year. Just keep them in there. We'll worry about it next year. And they've since now moved out of CIO, out to CIO. They were under me. That's why my amounts were so high last year.
Got it, okay.
And Jonathan and I worked together to look at the actuals of what was spent just on HCL, just on automation, and that's what my outside services are for this year. So that's why my amount last year was astronomical versus what I have this year.
Well, it's not totally out of whack. I mean, it's 395 versus 324, so it's not totally crazy. But the 222, whatever that is, some of that stuff, does that relate to tools? That would have got charged to the automation project?
They charged everything under my 105,723.
No, well, again, this 395 is separate from this 222. Okay, it's totally different. This stuff doesn't, when it hits this project, it doesn't settle into your department. It settles under CTO review. So this is 222. Again, we'll look to pull what that represents. It hit this SAP project. So it's this 222 is an addition that you don't see in your departmental P&L of this 395.
Okay. So my department P&L then, I think I'm going to reverse that. My department P&L of 395 probably was mostly the Xers and the other guys who were doing the tool stuff.
Okay.
That got moved to CIO.
Okay, so then this 324 is representative of stuff that should still be directed to your department. But
Yes.
if there's an expectation of still outside service costs supporting the automation project, like in the neighborhood of whatever it is, 222
Yep.
or something, that's a problem because we do not have any plane.
But isn't that what we put into my department?
No, I'm assuming
Jason?
not.
I mean, I'm
assuming
sorry,
not.
Jonathan? Jonathan, isn't that what we put in our department?
No,
Was
that's
that for,
this is the project, the OpEx. I'm going to say rolls forward. It doesn't exactly rolls forward, but when we look at the operational expenses, we go through that in the way that we didn't go through it with the project. Right? So that the same exercise didn't get done from project that's Jason sharing now to roll that forward, mostly because there's no assumption that it's that the work's going to be done and at the same level. but we knew from an operational sense, we spent a lot of time obviously going through of what the HCL cost would be, wouldn't be, and what would be going over to CIO. But that work wasn't done on the this side of it, and that's why those costs didn't get in.
Yeah, I'll pull this project right now, and I may have to go in some other areas, but that 222 is in what it is representative of. I really don't know, Scott. So if it's, again, I can just tell you the vendor. I'm not going to drill into each and every one of these invoices because it's just I don't even know.
Not by the vendor who it is.
Okay. Okay. There. There's the 222.
All right, that doesn't tell me what vendor
No,
it
no,
is.
no, no. Well, hang on a second. Just
Oh.
bear with me. I think that's it. Right. 301, 340. I think that's HCL. It is. It's HCL. So, yeah, all those charges, that 222 from HCL invoices got charged to this project. What it is, I have no idea. Hopefully you can.
Yeah, it's a combination of sustaining, but it's also some of the work that we did for tools, because we had some HCL folks that were working on some of the tools as well, like Clarity and Jira. So we had some HCL that did that as well.
So this 222, again, just hope you're clear, it's outside of this 395.
Right.
So the only thing that we have considered as of today is the 324. If HCL is going to continue supporting automation and doing sustaining whatever it is, whatever that represents, there's nothing in the plan.
If HCL is going to continue to support,
Or like they charge similarly in 25 to this project, this 222, there's nothing in the plan.
so what did we put in then, Jonathan? For HCL?
So that's your operational cost, the 222.
395, whatever
Yeah.
this 395 represents. Or sorry, the 324. That's all that's in your department. I want you gotta keep in mind, this department is separate from what's in CTO initiatives.
Right, that's
Totally
two different. I
separate.
get it.
Totally
One is
separate.
mine, and one is Alan's, and one is Andy's, essentially.
Right, but you
One
had,
is mine and one is Andy's.
well, I mean, ultimately Andy owns everything, but this automation is part of the
Right.
CTO initiatives. And there's no plan. Right,
I
under CTO
don't
initiatives, there's no
understand,
plan.
when you keep saying there's no plan, I have a plan in mind. I
I know, Scott, I'm saying, I don't know if you're understanding me.
I'm not,
What you-
I'm clearly not, and John, maybe if you're understanding, John, jump in, because if you're following this, then great.
Now, the way I understand it, I think there's a concern with this extra 222 and how we used that last year. We did not budget for it for 2026, but what Scott, you're saying and what we need to investigate is, we think that is from those other contractors that you had to absorb last year that we're not gonna absorb this year. And so we need to look into it to see if we are going to need that additional 222,000 or whatever for whatever that was used for. We might not.
And maybe that's great. If that's the case, that's great. But 395 plus 220, and that's 617 that we consumed in 2025. Right now, I'm saying that all you have is 324.
Right.
That's all you need between the two areas. Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's what we need to go look at, Scott, is what the 324, what that's budgeted for, and if we, based on Globant now or any other outside services, if we need to budget more for those additional services outside of the 324. If not, then like he said, that's great, but if it is, it sounds like we're gonna have to need to do I don't know, we'll do a change request and we can get that approved or not, but that's
I'm
what
gonna have to go before Andy probably and say, okay, this is critical for business operations. It's not in the plan. It's not funded. We need it. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna support it.
Okay, so that's what we need to do, Scott, is we need to break away and see of that 222, if for 2026 we need anything like that.
So Jonathan, what did we put in for this year for outside services for me?
That was the
Right
20.
here,
Yeah.
324.
That seems high. I don't.
Well,
was it that high?
it was actually 300. It was the 25K a month for 12 months for your specific cost center, the 105,723.
Right.
And Scott, you're comparing that to the 395 of 225 from.
That's what I'm looking at, right? 324 versus 395 in 2025.
And that difference kind of is the CIO
Okay.
amount. But the other part of this, the project related cost,
Right.
I think John kind of summed it up.
Yeah, it sounds like John is on the same line of thought as what I'm stating.
Okay,
Sort of
good.
not articulating it correctly, but what John stated is what I'm looking for.
Good.
So Scott, what we need to do is just break away. I can schedule a meeting with Teresa. Do we still need the meeting with Teresa? I see 11 is available for all three of us. We probably
You do see a lot of time. Okay, good. Yes, let's do that.
11 a.m. is good for all three of us. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up.
Perfect.
And then we just need to understand of that 222, and we have all that information in those spreadsheets that were attached to the email, right?
You just don't have, well, you have, no, because I didn't give you 2025, because again, the spreadsheet, again, what I provided here is just CTO initially. You do, yes, I mean, I guess, sorry, did I give 2020? Yes, I did.
But the 222, we just
Yeah,
need to
there it is right there, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to understand what that was used for in 2025, and for 2026, if we have anything like that for 2026, how much we need, and we might not need any. But if we do need some, we need to get that approved.
Correct, and if 324 you think is overall is too high, you can drop from some of that to shift over to, capture the costs that would be recorded in the automation project, that's great.
Yeah,
Less than the impact, but I don't know, again, you guys.
just looking at the numbers the way they are now, the fact that we were at 395 for 2025 and now we're forecasting 324 for 2026, I've got a feeling we need that 324 right there.
I do too.
Again, I know you guys said some of that stuff was for tools and it shifted over to the CIO group, but I'm hoping once that exercise was done, that this is representative of what actually would be captured in your departmental P&L.
Right. Okay. Scott, do we need to?
Go ahead. Sorry. No, I just said to me it's outside of the 222 that was captured in the automation project.
Right. So Scott, do we want to have a follow-up meeting on this before meeting with Teresa to make sure that we have all what we need when we do meet with Teresa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's get to it, John. We'll figure it out and get it on before we get with Teresa then.
Yeah, and so as far as, because this is due today, do you want we should have some type of communication back to you on what we're going to do, right?
Yeah, even if you don't get it in, John, like, again, I'm not the end of the world, but if you do have a number, like Red 1 is not opened up yet, I'd just like to be maybe apprised of what you think might be omitted from the plan, that we can consider either put something in or we put it on an R&O or something that to the effect that we know what we're faced with.
Right.
In terms of not being funded.
And right now, I have nothing under CTO initiatives.
Correct.
Got it.
In that category.
There's 50K in another project, but it doesn't look like it should be, some platform onboarding or something.
Yep. Okay.
And what we need to understand, what we need guidance from Teresa on is, where do we put this in PPM? Because neither one of us know. It seems like Tim did this in the past, so we need to figure out, where do we put this?
I just make sure, hopefully you guys are on distribution, like there's a monthly snapshot. So there's an expectation that you guys go in, you update each and every month what your outlook is, what your forward.
I am not on that distribution, which is cool. Could be what, and I don't know if Scott, if you are, but yeah. So we're not even on that distribution, so we.
Well, I'm gonna get Don Karen to make sure that you are both added to the distribution list.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because if we would have had that reminder, I'd be like, Scott, what is this? We gotta get this done.
Yeah.
So that would be very helpful.
Okay, I'll look after that today.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, John. I'm available now. If you wanted to continue this, we can hang up and then continue our conversation if that works for you or whatever.
I'll call you right back.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Take
Okay.
care.